us $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
It's Flex Tuesday, Teddy. I'm Lawrence Presman. Just rode the Peloton for the last hour. He's Teddy Covers. We got a 3-pack of guests today, Teddy, and I'm excited, man. Andrew McGinnis. Dude's wearing a tie. After he's going to talk some hockey. After him, we've got Steve Merrill coming up. And then Dave Sharapan, dude. Love having Dave with us. Great show, guys. Everybody stay with us. Give us lots and lots and lots of love today. A whole lot of likes, etc., etc. Teddy, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay today, Prez. How about yourself?
Well, I had a 1-2 night last night, but I'm doing okay. I'm not letting a 1-2 night ruin my mood, brother. And I've been binge watching the Marvel movies. I love them. I know I'm 52-year-old man, and I love Marvel. What can I tell you, bro? Isaac, your boy into it all?
No. He likes he doesn't like things that he doesn't think are real. He's not a sci-fi guy. He's not a superhero guy. I split out last night. So something happened to me last night that doesn't happen very often. I fell asleep in front of the game. I fell asleep with the TVs on.
Wow.
I fell asleep with a 5-0 lead in a game where I'm laying 1.5 on the run line. I think it was a 7th when I fell asleep, and I woke up to a 6-5 final. And I was freaking pissed.
Oh.
And that's just 2-out, 2-run homer in the 9th inning. Kills the run line. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We had Minnesota last night, but unfortunately, I've been running that way a fair bit lately. The last week has not been friendly. But I don't fall asleep in front of games, Chris. I really don't. And I was just gassed last night. Baseball, I guess baseball you can once in a while. And I was like, all right, I got a 5-0 lead. I'm just relaxing. And you wake up, and you're like, okay, let's just check the score. I woke up at like 3 a.m. Oops. So I didn't enjoy that.
Well, I hear you, bro. But you know what? At least you didn't have to watch it unfold. What did we learn last night in the world of sports?
What did we learn? We got to talk about what tanking means in the NBA, because there seems to be some question about it. We had last night a matchup between two tanking teams. We had the Magic and the Pistons were laying points. And both teams were missing a bunch of guys. The Pistons without Wayne Ellington and Jeremy Grant and Corey Joseph and Rodney McGruder, and Shaquille Okafor and Mason Plumlee and Dennis Smith. And the Magic, after trading away their 3 best players at the deadline, they were missing, OKK and Otto Porter and Terrence Ross and Michael Carter-Williams and Markelle Fultz and John. It's a matchup between two teams featuring a bunch of players that are, I guess, competing for playing time. And what happened? What happened was Mo Bamba went nuts for Orlando, took over the game in the third quarter, but he wasn't the only one for the Magic. And you get the quotes at the end of the game. This is what we learned. All right, Mo Bamba, quote, "We want to win. We don't necessarily want to take any excuses that we're down a man or anything. At the end of the day, we're a young, hungry team that wants to win." When you see a quote like that, all of a sudden you stop fading Orlando. When you see Orlando winning 3 out of 4, all of a sudden you stop fading Orlando. You can find bottom feeders, even over the last 10 games or 8 games of the NBA season, that are still playing with passion and energy. Orlando appears to be one of them. What did you learn last night, Prez? And I haven't even talked about the Knicks. We had a brutal bad beat last night, the Knicks Grizzlies total. I have to talk about it because people were tweeting me about it. It's 108 to 101 with $1:20 left. The over, really not much of a chance. All right. But then Memphis is still within 5 points of the game headed down the stretch. And then we saw not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 technicals In the last
Wow.
minute, 20 seconds, the Knicks hit all those shots. And they hit 2 3-pointers, and the game went over by a hook. That was brutal. Sorry, Prez. Bad beat had to be talked about. When you get 5 techs in the last minute 20 and the game goes over by a hook, that's tough. Oh, and what about the empty netter in the Islander game?
Empty netters, dude. That's a regular occurrence. I don't even consider that stuff bad beats, but here's what I learned last night, and it's really twofold, Teddy. First off, why is anybody watching our show doing anything? Just bet the bloody Knicks. Like, come on, just bet the Knicks. That's my daughter comes up to me at dinner last night. She's like, I made a bet. What did you bet? The Knicks. Go ahead, Teddy.
I was going to say, so when we're giving advice, if you've been playing the Knicks for the last month, you made a fortune. If you want to jump on the Knicks now, you think now's the time to jump on after they've covered like 14 in a row or 14 out of 15, whatever it is.
You know what? I never jump in or out of streaks, but it's just this team is having so much fun. And to me, that is, and we spoke about this yesterday, that really is the key factor for me. I want to see these teams having fun. Teams that have fun cover point spreads. Put that on your T-shirt, Teddy.
I agree.
So, yeah. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it, look, the Blue Jays are 50-50, but you'll watch, man. This team's having fun. They're going to go on a run. Leafs are having fun. They're going to go on a run. Speaking of having fun, I'll talk about what I learned tomorrow, my other section. We got to get the show moving along. Let's bring in the kid, Andrew McGinnis. Suit
What's up, guys?
And tie, brother. Suit and tie, man. And holy crap, your hair grew fast.
It did. It's back. It grew up back a lot faster than my co-host, Carmine Bianco. I shouldn't give a little jab at him like that, but it did. I want to say thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it very much. And Teddy, I am just like your son. I can't get down for stuff that I don't believe in or it's not real. So I'm right there with your son.
That's cool. But I got
Game of Thrones.
I believe I didn't see any Game of Thrones. Neither one of us did. But I believe Wager Talk's been going since was it September? Did we start or in August?
Yeah, August.
Is this the first tie?
Probably.
I think it is. There might have been one. One of the times we had one of the sports book.
I think there might have been one of the sports tie.
Kenny White comes on in a tie. We have Kenny on? No, we never had Kenny on this show. Maybe we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. We had Kenny on, and I guess maybe one of the sports book directors. But kudos to dressing up, Andrew. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. I'm gonna age myself a little bit here, Teddy. And I know Marco was speaking about importance of family yesterday, and I appreciate the kind words from everybody and Marco yesterday. My father is retiring this week, and he has given me a large portion of his ties. So you guys can expect a lot more of that. All the ties are going to me now, so there's no excuse now, Teddy.
Well, anyway, congratulations to your father who is retiring. And Andrew, let's get into it, dude. It's $2 Tuesdays, everybody, both at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. Real quick, the $2 Tuesday handicapper at Sports Memo is our good friend Ross Benjamin. He's got a big play in baseball up right now, and he's on a red-hot 18-8 run. So head over to Sports Memo, $2 for Ross Benjamin's play. And Andrew, man, I'll slap you upside the head for being 22-3 yesterday and being 24-7 today. Clearly, you don't take any freaking lessons.
I knew it was coming, Prez. I know.
I'm done mentoring you. Your mentor is done. You do not take any instructions.
Prez, my mentor.
You don't learn. Shame on you. With that said, you're on a 24-7.
Guys, I deserve it.
Andrew, don't interrupt me. You are a young little Jedi who did not take instructions from me. I'm very upset with you right now. With that said, 24/7 all sports run, which is absolutely outstanding. You're the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Tell us about your play tonight, and do you have a promotion to give out? And then we got to get into some picks.
I appreciate that, Prez. I'm not surprised by what you're saying. It's the karma. Yesterday was my highest volume day in weeks, and that just goes to show what happens. So I knew this was coming. I'm not shocked by that. And it's a 5% MLB top play here, guys. In the month of April, I started off extremely slow with MLB. It was rough. I had rough reads, and I felt like I was just forcing too many plays. Final 2 weeks of April, I was just betting on hot teams, betting on teams that are playing well, batting well, hot pitchers, and it was working out for me. Low volume, 1 to 2 plays a day. Ended up hitting 4 straight 5% MLB plays in the month of April. Looking to make it 5 straight tonight.
Andrew McGinnis, everyone, and way to save your high volume day for when you're on it. Namaste. Okay. Islanders Sabres, Andrew. Last
Under.
night, Teddy, you want to talk? Go ahead, brother. Anything
Under.
you
Under.
say, I want to
If he
hear.
says anything but under. And of course, last night was this whole streak. Last night, I think was the first time I put a real wager on it. The empty netter, I enjoyed
the
that.
under?
I did.
Oh my God.
I can kill any streak right now. So talk to me about what you're doing with the Islanders under.
Oh,
well, Teddy, I'm happy you bet on hockey.
I shouldn't say that.
That's a good feeling. I'm happy you're betting on hockey, talking about hockey, anything to do with hockey.
The only thing I'm talking about is Islanders. The only thing I know in hockey is Islanders under, and it's cashed 56 times in a row, and I bet, a little bit, and last night I put a proper unit on it.
Well, look,
and it should have won. It should have won, Teddy. Andrew, let's go. Yeah. What do you like,
guys?
in this game?
I'm not giving you a big shocker play. Teddy's already said it. You said it every single day. I'm not giving you a huge shocker. I'll just say one thing. I believe the better team dictates the pace. I think people use that expression in multiple sports, but in hockey this year, it's been a whole new realm of theories you're making, because not always over the past couple of years did you see the same teams play not once, but twice, 3 times, sometimes 4 times in a row. And so you got to use what you learned from that first game and see how a bounce back spot's going to happen. And, the Islanders controlled the game last night. They looked like a much better team, but they have to just buckle down, lock things down, and trap the middle of the ice. And I believe that's what we will see tonight in the second game of the back-to-back. The Islanders obviously did not do so. They got involved in, to quote Prez, having too much fun. And I want them to have less fun tonight and just lock things down. Yeah. Give me the under 5.5.
Andrew, I love this play. I couldn't agree with you more. And especially after a loss, and a humiliating loss, that will really help the New York Islanders dictate play. And I agree with you. Whoever dictates play is where this total is going to go. Nice call. I'm with you 100%. Let's get to the Penguins Flyers. Man, the Flyers. A lot was expected of this team, and I thought they were a Stanley Cup contender at the beginning of the year. It really took to game 50 for them to really show their stuff. A big win against Pittsburgh. 3 absurd saves in the first period. We don't need to discuss that, but if anyone gets to see the highlights, some of the greatest saves of the year happened in that game. What do you like tonight?
Well, I just find it kind of funny because the Philadelphia Flyers, like you said, had a lot of high hopes going into the season. They thought they finally found their goaltender in Carter Hart. And then all of a sudden he starts to look a little bit shaky. So that was kind of a question mark. Yesterday, Alex Lyon was in nets. He played his best game of his career, probably the best game he's played in his life. And the Philadelphia Flyers go out on top. And guys, I know it's very easy to just think to yourselves, you know what? We're going to back the better team in the second game and they'll bounce back. All right. There's my analysis, but there's more to it. This team had so many scoring chances. There were a lot of, the advanced stats, the dangerous opportunities, the key offensive zone faceoff wins that they had. They set themselves up for a great game. I think those people out there that bet on hockey that don't watch the game, they would think that Philadelphia dominated that game just based off the scoreboard. But if you actually watch that game, that game could have been a complete different style here. Yep. And I am betting on the bounce back here. And guys, I understand the better team, the second game, the bounce back. It might seem like a generic play today, but I really think Pittsburgh has what it takes. They have a leadership core led by Sidney Crosby. I believe they will bounce back. Prez, you've been mentioning regulation wagers. I believe on the board tonight, this is the best opportunity out there. I got minus 105 Pittsburgh in regulation.
Andrew McGinnis, everybody. Bet those two plays, guys. The under in the Sabres game, Pittsburgh in regulation. I'm betting them. Teddy, feel free to throw a unit or two on them as well. Guys, Andrew McGinnis, 24-7 all sports run, 39-20 NHL run, 25-10 baseball run. He's the $2 Tuesday handicapper, 5% baseball play. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. Do you have any long-term promotion or anything you can give out quick, and then we got to get moving?
Just that great deal we have up for all of us right now. Buy 1 month, get one. It's a great deal, great promo. It's applicable for all three of us, and I advise people to grab that.
Thank you, brother. Get out of here, guys. We're right back. Teddy's going to work on his big game breakdown in his head so he can say it super quick. And then we got Steve Merrill and Dave Sharapan. Stay with us.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
Time for today's big game breakdown, and this one should be fun tonight. The Astros making their first trip to the Bronx to face the Yankees since the first time these guys have met. These teams have met since the ALCS back in 2019. The last time the Yankees faced the Astros, it was Jose Altuve with the 2-run bomb off Aroldis Chapman to send Houston to the World Series. The Astros have changed a lot since then. The Yankees, not so much. I mean, Houston's really, their pitching staff's different. Their position players are different. Their manager's different. And the Yankees, they've obviously been changes since 2019. But by and large, there's not a person in that Yankees locker room that doesn't have this game triple circled. I expect it again. The fans haven't mattered that much in MLB. Tonight's going to be an ugly night for Houston in that regard. And, of course, you look at the starting pitching. You say you got Zach Greinke on the one side and you got Herman on the other side. Oh, my God. The Yankees can't possibly survive a game with Herman, except for that Herman's been great his last 2 starts. Greinke has a terrible track record against the Yankees. And he's coming off his shortest outing of the year. He's been hit hard twice in his last 4 starts. I think the price is very reasonable here to back the Yankees at home. Both teams 8-3 in their last 11 games, bouncing back nicely off of slow starts. But we're getting a cheap price delay because of a perceived starting pitching mismatch. And I'm convinced it's a starting pitching mismatch. And the Yankees team might have a little bit of extra swagger in their step tonight. Give me the Bronx Bombers. What are we laying right now? Minus 130, even less? Minus 125. You can shop around and find a good price on the Yankees. That's the way I'm looking. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Great stuff, Teddy. Andrew was texting me. He felt all bad. Had to pick when he was at the top of the mountain to have his highest volume day. Steve Merrill, everybody. Steve, man, we've all made those mistakes. How are you, brother? I love having you on. Thanks for joining us on WagerTalk today.
Yeah, I just want to wish Andrew McGinnis good luck on his job interview. He looked like a young Al McMorty without the glasses there. I know Teddy will appreciate that.
That's funny. He's taller than
he does.
Al.
He is tall, actually. He's taller than we realize. He needs to be big Andrew McGinnis. Let's start doing that.
Yeah. Big Andrew McGinnis, who doesn't listen. I'm kidding. I love that kid, man. He's one of the hardest working guys. And, all of us have been doing this for so long. And he is an up-and-comer that's going to be around for a long, long time. Steve, let's get straight to it, man. Right off the bat, let's talk about the Pirates versus the Padres. Let's go, dude. Just I hand the mic to you.
Yeah, I did a segment with Teddy on Sirius Channel 204, covered his weekly show on Saturday mornings and Saturday nights there. And we talked about kind of these overachieving teams in baseball, also underachieving. We didn't actually mention the Padres, but they obviously qualify. But the Pirates were a team that's been vastly better than expected. They had the lowest win total in the league, 59.5. They started April basically one game below 500, 12-13. But we do look for them to regress at some point. And I think that regression has begun. And now we get a play-on team, in my opinion, in the Padres versus a Pirates team that's definitely lost now several in a row. I look for that to continue here. I think the best way to play the Padres, obviously, is kind of like the Dodgers I've talked a lot about here on this show. Instead of laying the big juice, I like the -1.5 run line. San Diego has been inconsistent offensively this year. So I think the under is a little bit of a hedge in this game as well. When I sent this over last night, we didn't have a starter for San Diego. So that's why there was no line on this one. Right now, it's Weathers and Keller. They're -220 on the money line. I don't like that, but they're -1.15 on the 1.5 run line. So you're getting it all the way down to basically a pick 'em price. As far as the total in this game goes, I'm seeing mostly 8s to the under. I think that's a little high. So I like under 8 in this one between the Pirates and Padres. And I'm riding the Padres in this series as well, minus the 1.5 run line, -115.
Yeah, now Pittsburgh's lost, 5 in a row right now. And
Yep.
The bats have kind of gone cold in the process. Well, it's an interesting, they get, shut out in back-to-back games their last 2 days. But when you talk about the concept of playing an under with a run line, that's going to be something that I think a lot of people are looking at going, wait, A and B, you're kind of betting the opposite. You're expecting a low-scoring game and expecting one team to win by margin. Explain your thought process there just a little bit. And is this a spot where maybe the best bet of all might be team total under for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. First of all, team total under makes a lot of sense. And as I said earlier, you notice that key word I used, Teddy, I said a hedge, because the under is a little bit of a hedge here with a team on the run line, because I do agree with you. It's contradictory a little bit, but the reason San Diego concerns me a bit on the run lines because they're not explosive offensively like they should be. They've been inconsistent this year. You do like those big offensive teams to cover the 1.5 run line at home. So that's why the under's a hedge. But I think both of them make sense. And 8's a fairly high number in current baseball. This is one of the weakest offensive years in history. And we talked about that on your show as well. The last 150 years, guys, going back 150 years in baseball, we have the most strikeouts per game and the fewest hits per game right now in 2021. Runs scored is about on pace with the last 10 years or so, average about 8.5 runs a game. But 8 for the National League is a fairly high total, in my opinion. So I think they can both work here, but I would call that a little bit of a hedge to the 1.5 run line. Team total Pittsburgh does make sense to the under.
Steve Merrill, everybody. Steve, let's get into some NBA and the Raptors on the road playing the Clippers tonight. Was -9 money coming in on LA, now -9.5. And we've seen the under be bet heavy. It was 2-2, 1.5. Now we've got 2 19s on the board. What are we doing in this one?
Yeah, we got a Clippers team here who, by the way, looking at future odds, Teddy and I talked about this on his show last week as well. And I know Teddy kind of liked the Sixers at 6-1 in the Eastern Conference. And I mentioned if you're looking for someone in the West, I think the Clippers at 6-1 probably have the best value as well. I'm not sold on this Lakers team, as we've seen with LeBron back. They've been very inconsistent. They win last night without him. And I'm not sold on Brooklyn either. They've had a lot of different pieces and injuries in the East there. So I think the Clippers could be a play-on team in the postseason. And the fact they're coming in off this game off of 3 straight losses catches my attention because I don't think they're going to lose another game here to Toronto. Toronto goes and beats the Lakers as a 10.5-point dog on Sunday night. Played well above expectations. They've now covered back-to-back games at Utah and against the Lakers. I think that run ends here. Clippers not only have lost 3 in a row, but they failed to cover 4 in a row. They barely beat Houston and then lost 3 straight. But they've had 3 days off since that Denver loss. And let's keep in mind the last 2 losses against Denver at home and at Phoenix, 2 very good teams. Huge step down in class here, focus spot, and a couple extra days of rest. I look for the Clippers, who I still consider one of the best teams in the league, to bring their A game tonight. Not surprised that this line, as you said, Prez, has gone from 9 to 9.5.
So this shocked me when I saw it. I had to go back and double check it. Toronto as a dog of +5 or higher, 78% for the year. Does that surprise you? Was that a shocker for you? It was a shocker for me. And does that worry you about this game?
Yes, it is surprising because they're only 27-38 on the season. And more importantly, Teddy, they're only 29-36 against the spread. So they've basically been god-awful in every other situation. This has been the one that has worked. And we've seen that with other teams. I think it was the Pistons for a good amount of the season where, losing a lot of games by single digits and covering as an ugly dog. But I look at every game on a single individual basis. As you said, they've covered the majority of those, but not all of them. I think this is one where it doesn't work, especially since they're coming off back-to-back covers in that situation, and the Clippers are off 3 straight losses. NBA regular season is all about situational analysis, focus spots. Whenever I can get a much better team in a focused spot, that's always a considered play for me, and I think that's the case with the Clippers tonight.
Yeah, that's such a great point, dude. The only problem for me personally is when are those focus spots? They don't really call me on the phone and let me know. Sacramento Kings playing the Thunder. Thunder coming off the worst home loss in history of the NBA. I could be wrong, but I think that is right. A -5. It was 230. It's been bet down to 228. Steve, you have literally about 45 seconds to make your case on one of these two teams or a total. Go.
Yeah, well, that's about 40 seconds more than this game deserves to be talked about probably, but we'll do it anyway. I'll look at the over. I don't disagree with that move down. When you have bad teams late in the season, the over is always worth a look. As you said, Prez, Oklahoma City's just been awful. They lost 95-152 in that home game a couple ago. Came back 243 total against Phoenix. Over is the only way to play the Thunder games, in my opinion, for the way out. I know De'Aaron Fox has been out for Sacramento. They were 4-1 to the under the last 5. I think they're learning to play without him, though, so I'm more comfortable with an over now.
Steve Merrill, everyone. Steve, we've got a promo for you, Steve 30, and your parents gifted you with a V instead of a PH, so it's STEVE 30. $30 off a 3 or 7 day all-access pass from Steve Merrill. Use the promo code Steve30. And real quick, Steve, are you a Marvel fan?
I've watched the movies. They all kind of run together for me, though. So I'd say I'm
man,
neutral.
I want to find someone. I got questions. I want to talk to a Marvel fan. Get out of here.
I'm not an expert.
Dave Sharapan coming up, everybody. Plus the penalty box segment. Teddy, is Dave? Oh my God, we don't even. Dave, is that you with a Blue Jay hat? Oh, Dave, someone is kissing ass.
Oh my, I love the hat, Prez. I wore the WagerTalk hat and I got a lot of pushback because it's an old hat. I mean, I got that from Marco years ago and it was a little bit beat up. I found it in a box. So I had to ramp up my hat game. I see, Merrill got a haircut for the show. I mean, it's so you gotta come with the right stuff if you're going to come on the show.
Okay, well, that hat looks old as hell. I mean, that's got to be from like when Roberto Alomar, who happens to be all over the news, was probably playing for the Blue Jays.
We're not discussing Roberto Alomar right now.
No, we are not. No, we are not. But surprise, surprise. Anyway, Dave, welcome to the show, man. Let's go, man. We need some actionable information. What sport would you like to talk about first?
Well, I usually let Teddy take over the interview at this point, but I mean, we might as well start off with hockey and your trip to the penalty box that's coming up. Do you believe what Tom Wilson did yesterday again?
Whoa.
And I mean, seriously, listen, the guy's out of control. But
it's got to be a massive suspension. I mean, he's got to miss like the whole first round or something. To me, I feel like you go back to Claude Lemieux. Do you remember when Claude Lemieux hacked down on the New York Islander guy, was out for like 34 games or something?
Yeah.
I think this is as bad. I think Tom Wilson should be suspended for the rest of the season. It was vicious.
It was dirty. It would have gone to jail if you'd done that in the street. And my reaction is like everything in my life. I think of it in terms of a bookmaker or an odds maker. And I go, well, how long is he going to be out for? Because we got to change the futures. Yeah. Like he should miss the first round of the playoffs minimum. But like if you want to correct the behavior, you guys are both parents. We're all parents. We got a lot of followers, listeners that are parents. You can't change someone's behavior with little slaps on the wrist. If they get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. And I was like, okay, well, the Caps are leading the division. They're probably going to be the favorite to come out of that division. But without Tom Wilson, that's a big, big thing, right?
Huge.
So I couldn't wait to talk to you today and say, all right, one, do you think you could kick Tom Wilson's ass? Because I know you think you probably can because you're that type of guy. But Tom Wilson is a bad.
I think all three of us would lose to Tom Wilson, even if we had Thanos's glove. See how I got some Marvel in there, Teddy?
Oh, look at that. There he did.
Whose gloves?
All right.
Anyway, Dave, it is a massive loss. And the thing is, to me, I think Tom Wilson might be the most important person on that team, even more
I
so
agree.
than Ovi.
That's what I mean. Like, he has such a big impact on the team that it affects the odds, which again affects what we do every day. And him without the lineup or not in the lineup affects how you make the number every day and whether you bet them or not. So, we got enough issues with who's playing and who's not in the NBA. We got to figure out who's playing and who's not when they play, whether Tom Wilson's going to play or not. It's crazy. It's just unbelievable.
So, Dave, sorry, Teddy. Dave, let's just finish NHL and then I'll hand the whole mic show over to you and Teddy. What do you got for us? Is there a game tonight you like? I mean, I'm guessing you got to like the Pittsburgh Penguins in a revenge bounce back.
They were so bad yesterday, Prez. I mean, they have to win today, right? Like, they have to win. And there's just no excuse for laying that egg in this situation. We're down the stretch here. This is it. And they're going to face Boston in the first round. And I'm a Penguin fan, but money talks. They're not beating Boston in the first round series. They're absolutely not. I was going back and forth with a couple of hockey guys. What are you going to make the line if you make the number? So that's a whole nother discussion when that matchup comes. Today's Lumberjack Day in NHL. Every line is $250, $260, $200, $3, and then the Penguins $165. It's a little scary, but the Penguins is the only one that I think I would play. The Islanders are going to beat Buffalo in a revenge spot again, right? They're going to come back and beat the Sabres. But surprisingly, I think the game's going to go over. The Islanders have cashed nonstop on the under, especially on the road all season. They're going to house Buffalo tonight. They're probably going to score 4 goals themselves. Totals 5.5. All we need is 2 from Buffalo. Maybe we get 5 from the Islanders. That game over. Other than that, it was a full slate yesterday in hockey. I think we got NBA and MLB to go to with Teddy.
Yeah, NBA and MLB is all. But I want to get back to the Tom Wilson discussion because that's a very interesting discussion for me. When you talk about one guy in hockey, the only guy in hockey that tends to move a future market would be either a superstar or a goalie. And I'm pretty sure Wilson's not either one of those guys because I never heard of him until yesterday. And he's not a goalie.
To me, he's a superstar. I mean, it's hard in hockey because defensemen, Duncan Keith is a superstar. Seabrook is a superstar. Yossi is a superstar. With defensemen, you never really see it because they just don't. The best defensemen in the world are defensemen that you don't hear their name.
Right. Just they just keep showing up. They take 28 minutes of ice time a game. Yeah. Listen,
just like the left tackle.
The hockey is the ultimate team sport. I mean, there are 20 guys on a team and your superstar plays 22 minutes of the 60. Like, maybe there's nights where he plays 18 minutes, but there's guys on the team that do stuff that nobody likes, that nobody wants to do. I mean, ask Prez when he played on the adult league team, on the beer league team. He brought the booze and he showed up for entertainment in the locker room. Whether he did anything on the ice, it didn't matter. There was nothing on the score sheet. So everyone on a hockey team has a role. And you'd be surprised. I mean, a guy like Tom Wilson would in the number would have almost as much value, crazy as it is to sound, and I'm sure the chat room will light up, as Sidney Crosby. I mean, because there's certain things that guys do that don't appear on the score sheet. And Wilson is as nasty as could be. He's a physical presence that is just ridiculous. And he gets the puck to the goal scorers. He'll finish a play when he needs to, but he goes into corners and does all the dirty work that nobody sees and doesn't appear on a box score. So without him in the lineup, they're a worse team. I mean, they really are. Yeah. So that was my first thought when I saw it. How long is he going to be out for? Because if I was in the book, I'd actually bump their number.
The guys in the chat room said he got fined $5,000 with no suspension. I don't understand this
He's not going to
league.
miss one game.
That's what they're saying in the chat room. I haven't looked at the news because I was riding the Peloton and then hopped into the show, but I don't get it at all, dude. And especially with his history. I mean,
this is what I mean. It's so bad.
5-6 times.
This is Teddy. This is what's going on, and we'll relate it back to actionable info and sports and talk as far as betting goes. The leagues are so close. The bedfellows, they're laying in the same bed now with the gambling. And there's so many things. Like the baseball replay issue is a complete joke what's going on right now. And calls are not being overturned or calls are not being reviewed. They're being reviewed. You can see it in the replay and they're not being overturned because they don't want to make the umps look bad. And now, if you tell me that Tom Wilson got a $5,000 fine and no suspension for basically taking a guy's head and smashing it off the ice in a dirty play, I mean, what do? Well, like people are betting real money every day on this stuff. And it's just, it's starting to really ask a lot of further questions like what, let's get to the playoffs already when they're playing for that blood every day because this regular season stuff is impossible. Yeah. Can't wait.
Teddy, get some actionable info out of him for baseball and basketball, and I'll get ready for the penalty.
So I didn't even finish the question that I was in the middle of asking when you interrupted me, Lawrence. And then you, I believe, spoke 4 times since you said you were going to shut up and let me talk. So I'll give you a hint. STFU, I'm going to ask my question. Okay. Dave Sharapan, when we're talking about hockey and Tom Wilson is out and something that's going to affect the future book odds, we compare that to the NBA, for example, where 4 Spurs starters sat against Philadelphia on Monday, and the line moved 4 points. Or LeBron James sat last night for the Lakers, and the line, I mean, I don't think people expected him to play, but the line still moved 1.5 points after he was announced out. When you're comparing guys being out across sports, hockey versus basketball, it appears to me like it's not even close. Hockey injuries don't really matter anywhere near basketball injuries. Is that correct? Is that the same for baseball too?
100% accurate. Again, you're right on it. And yes, basketball, there's only 5 guys on the court, right? I mean, there's 20 guys on a hockey team and there's 9 guys on a baseball team, but everybody has an individual position. The goalie matters the most, obviously, in hockey because he's on the ice the whole time and can win or lose a game, plain and simple. And a starting pitcher. But the starting pitcher has actually become less and less important because another guy comes up, throws 98 with gas, and they only have to go 5 innings anyway. The expectations for starters in Major League Baseball, the game is changing right before our eyes. So it's having to change the way you do business as the book, where you don't maybe put as much stock into it. Books have done away with listed pitchers. There's a lot of books that just don't even, it's all action. So it's all kind of changing as we go. But yes, by far, basketball has the most impact. And I mean, it has an impact on the future market too. Look at the NBA future market right now. I don't know what switch is going to be flipped for the Lakers, but apparently everybody knows that there's going to be a switch flipped, and the Lakers are just going to represent, they're going to go through maybe a play-in game. Then they're going to beat Denver or the Clippers. Oh, yeah, by the way, then they have the Suns and maybe the Jazz all on the road. And if they do all of that 3-game parlay, they get to play the Nets, the Sixers, or the Bucks in the finals on the road. You tell me, well, how do I looked at some future odds yesterday. The Lakers are still 3-1. If it was my book, I would have the Lakers at 10-1 and go get me some Laker money. I would tell Prez, like he hustles the Bitcoin hustle, tell everybody to come into our book and bet the Lakers to win the overall thing. I don't think they're going to. I really don't. But I need to get the bets now because at 2-1 or 3-1, who's betting the Lakers to win it all?
Is that just a pure liability issue that, especially for books in Vegas that get the Southern California traffic, that get the Southern California money, that you'll see a dramatic variance in the future book odds between what you see here in the state of Nevada and what you're going to see back east?
Without a doubt, I think it's basically a price that says we have enough Laker money. If you want to bet it, you're going to have the absolute worst number in the world. Or it's on some books, it's a little bit of laziness on the part of odds makers. And I call my boys out all the time. Like, well, I'll send somebody a text when I see it. I'm like, what are you guys doing with that Laker price? I mean, do you seriously think they're going to win? Like, because you don't want any bets on them at this point, because it's one or the other. And in here in Vegas, you see so much LA money. I mean, like the Lakers and the Clippers got to be the two ones in the West that are just they're buried on, or they have enough on. And you might catch better prices on Utah, Phoenix, Denver in the West. And then what they did with the Nets price, Teddy, you saw it. I mean, just the word mention of trade of Harden, everybody moved the number from what was like 10-1 to 9-1 down to 2-1 without taking a bet, because they were going to bet it anyway. And that's what happened. So if you can get ahead of the move in the future books as the book, you want to do it every day.
We've got just a few minutes left here with Dave Sharapan at SportsBKConsig on Twitter, the Sportsbook Consigliere. And Dave, it is time for actionable. What have we seen in the market so far today when it comes to sharp money in MLB and or sharp money in the NBA?
Well, I'm amazed at two games in MLB. One is the Phillies game against Milwaukee. I don't know what's going on with the overnight steady. I really don't. But like, I saw some numbers that maybe didn't exist anywhere. It might have just been guys putting numbers in, but it was like really high on the Phillies against Milwaukee. Come on. I think Milwaukee's live as a dog. We talked about it last week about betting dogs. That number's too high. That Phillies team has no baseball IQ. They can't catch a break in a replay. They haven't won one of those things yet since that Sunday night game when that guy never touched the plate against the Braves. And they said he's safe. They saw the replay, said he's still safe. Let's go. So I like Milwaukee there. The Mets and DeGrom has me fascinated. I love aces in baseball. I can't believe this line is lit. The Mets can't hit. They have the worst batting average in the league. They leave more runners on base. It's unbelievable. They get parades of runners out there and don't score, and they're a 210 favorite today. Yes, DeGrom is generational talent, but St. Louis is a pretty good baseball team, and I expect that number to come down. The public is laying it, and that's going to be a sharp play 100% on the Cardinals at a big plus price. Merrill's all over it with my Pirates. This team cannot hit right now. The team total got to be under, the game under. The only thing is if they break out, the Padres aren't really hitting either. So I like the game under. And if you can catch the 8, it's better than 7.5, but you don't have to be afraid of the 7.5. So those are the baseball games. And like, look, the NBA is comical as far as the good games and the bad games. I'm fascinated with Sacramento OKC. I was talking to somebody yesterday. How do you make a line for that game? Sacramento, OKC. Teddy, what do you say? I don't know, 4? Yeah. Prez, what do you say? 6? All right, use 5. Let's put it up, see what they do with it. Can't pick a side in that, but give me the over. What you saw with Washington yesterday, bad teams, bad games, whatever, they just score. So bet that game over. Toronto has me baffled. They go to L.A., they smoke the Lakers, and now they're getting more points against the Clippers. I mean, seriously, what do you do with the Maple Leafs lost yesterday as a big favorite to the Montreal Canadiens, and now this Toronto team gets a 9.5 points against the Clippers, and they've been sitting there. Feels like a trap, feels like a square dog to me, taking the Toronto Raptors. I think I would lay it with the Clippers. And then Brooklyn-Milwaukee's the game of the day. Milwaukee's a short favorite. It took everything in their power to cover. Expect to see that number come back the other way, because Brooklyn's going to win. They're not going to lose 2 in a row to that Milwaukee team, et cetera, and then throw it all out the window when Giannis doesn't play tonight because of a knee issue or something like that. So Marvel superhero game yesterday, Warriors, Pelicans. That was a fun game to watch. How is the line again -2? I thought the line was wrong yesterday. The Pelicans are a young team that doesn't play any defense, and they're playing Golden State, who's trying to get in the play-in game. Golden State should be favored. Again, call it a trap. If you got me hook, line, and sinker. Just pull me in. Bet the Warriors money line. They're going to be favored by game time. If they're not, the line's wrong.
Dave Sharapan, man, Teddy, I couldn't get in there, bro.
That was actionable.
I don't think he took a breath.
It's what you wanted. That's what we got. That's all we got. I got nothing left except the trip to the penalty box.
Good stuff, brother. Your Twitter handle, man, you're a great follow on Twitter. And I don't say that to a lot of people, but you are an excellent follow on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
Thank you, sir. It's Sportsbook Consigliere, Sports BK Consig. You can find all of my other appearances on there, as well as some snark, some sarcasm, and maybe a picture or two when I go out to lunch and people want to see my calves.
Penalty box time. Get out of here, Dave Sharapan. Thanks for joining us, brother. Let's get ready. Oh, I love that tune. 5 games today, guys. Let's go top to bottom. New York Islanders playing Buffalo, and, well, we're going to the under. I understand Dave likes the over. I don't care. I mean, look, this game could go over. It went over yesterday. But if you just follow the plan, it'll go under more often than not. So don't overthink this. Don't get caught up in a game went over. Just keep betting the Islanders under from now until they are out of the playoffs. And I assure you, you will win more than you lose. Boston playing New Jersey. I like the over in this game. Even though I'm looking to play Boston under the total on a regular basis, I like the over in this hockey game in particular. Boston has actually got it going from an offensive perspective finally, and it took a long, long time. Pierce Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. I mean, these guys have done nothing all year. Now, finally, they put up a 3 spot, then a 6, then a 5, then a 3. They're playing well. And New Jersey, look, they put up a duck last game. A duck, that's a 0 in cricket. But they're going to get a couple of goals. 5-2 for in that game. That's my predicted score. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Take Pittsburgh in regulation, guys. It's a short revenge spot. They're much better. That whole game would have been different had the Philadelphia goaltender not make 2 of the most exceptional saves you've ever seen in your life. Carolina and Chicago. I like the over in this game, guys. No reason to stop playing the over in Chicago. We spoke about this last week. They're not diving in front of shots anymore. There's a ton of space, a ton of open ice, and a ton of speed. Take that over. And Edmonton and Vancouver, guys, I like the under in this game. Edmonton is playing lights out defensively right now. Vancouver is absolutely struggling. They've quit on the season. I think a predicted score of 4-1 for Edmonton. Take under the total. That's it for me. Teddy, brother, take us home.
Sure. Loaded show today. Thank you so much for taking time to hang out with Prez and I want to thank Andrew McGinnis and his tie for being here. I want to thank Steve Merrill and, of course, the Sportsbook Consigliere Dave Sharapan for joining us. Thanks to Prez, thanks to Joe Ranieri, and thanks to you, our loyal viewing audience. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of Wager Talk Today. Same bad time, same bad channel. Cheers.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.